Howdy guys, here are the next two items to get in my to-do list for rework. On the left we have a radio. The model is TEL, T-E-L-L, made by a company called Paillard in Switzerland. And it's definitely from the 30s. Don't know a lot about it yet, but I'll go find out. I just picked these two guys up. And the one on the right is a Minerva. Haven't found out too much about either of these sets yet. Let's have a quick look around the back. Okay, so as you can see, the back is perfectly intact. It's in pretty good condition. It has the cheater mains cord set up here. So to remove the back, you just rotate these guys, and then you yank out the plug. And drops down, and voila, yuck. Okay, hasn't been touched for quite a while. So plenty to do on this, man. Plenty to do. But again, I see some loose wires around in there. So not sure what has been disconnected there, or it may just be that something broke off with age and whatever. But nice oomphy looking speaker in there. I assume that's the audio output transformer mounted on it there. Oh, and that looks like it might be a magic eye, but or just sitting in here. What's this? It's kind of whacked, whatever it is. Probably a magic eye, but the base is all loose. Yeah, interesting. Anyway. Curious base as well. I haven't come across one of those in my travels before, I don't think. 1, 2, 3. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe it might be just a regular octal. Just hasn't seen one laid out like that before. Okay, well, as I say, I may just run the vacuum cleaner over these. This one certainly. And then they'll get stacked away while I do some research, get documentation, and yeah, we get around to these in due course. Two more little projects to do, as I say. I'm assuming this guy here is probably 50s. This guy here is definitely 30s. So yeah, interesting projects, which we will get to in due course. Made in Switzerland, and the valve types are European. So this looks like a European set, another Swiss model, and a whopping great mains transformer. So with this mains transformer and a stonking big speaker around the back, I'm expecting terrific sound out of this when we get her going. And as you can see, I've just vacuumed out the really heavy layers of dust that were everywhere here. And it is in pretty immaculate condition underneath all the crud. No rust anywhere. No wood damage. There's a valve or tube chart on the inside here. And even found a little bag underneath which has spare fuses. Which probably are the originals that came with it. So, definitely an interesting one, this. And the valve that was lying around inside was the rectifier, which sits on a socket right here on the top of the mains transformer. So, mystery solved. Okay, so I have two Swiss sets to work on. Cool. What's interesting is the knobs are all turned wood. So they look really cool. So yeah, looking forward to getting this one back in action. I decided I'd see about getting the chassis out of the Minerva just to see if I can find any more that'll help me get a model number or something. Interesting construction. There's an access plate you can just take off, and it all looks pretty original in there. The kind of unusual thing is the actual chassis is asymmetrically bolted into the cab. So on one side it's here, on the other side it's actually underneath the base splint. So I got to take the splint off to get at the access bolts. Just see poking out here. Curious. Okay, just got the chassis out, and the speaker has fallen. The upper mounts are not there, are not held, so the speaker is just held by the screws at the bottom. So it isn't going to last. I got to sort that out. And the base and the side here have come away. So that's very dodgy. I'm not actually surprised because the chassis in this thing, with the size of that transformer, it weighs an absolute ton. So I think the chassis is somewhat under designed for the size of the bloody chassis that's in here. The cab is under designed. However, good news. Looks like I found a model type. So it says Minerva Type 452. So and here we have a tube layout. So yeah, progress. See if I can find some documentation online. Right, quick tour around the chassis. Generally looks in very good condition. I mean, I've never seen control shafts as clean as this in this age, and they're all the same. They're all really just pristine. Yep, so this thing is built like a tank. And dial looks to be in remarkably good condition, which is nice. I gotta get the tuning eye out. The tuning dial card mechanism looks to be good fun. So we'll leave that as long as we can. And hopefully I don't need to touch it. However, first sign of previous work, these wires here are clearly for the dial bulbs, because the dial bulbs are gone. And there's all this sticky tape here holding this whole top mechanism on, which methinks is not original. So, yep. But yes, nice looking chassis. Before I put this radio back in the to-do pile, I need to make it safe, and there's some cabinet work to do. So the base has come away from the side here. Not surprising given the weight of the transformer, which sits right in here. And the speaker baffle was tipped up. I had assumed that was the screws had ripped out of the wood on top, but in fact the weight of the speaker assembly had pulled off this upper piece here, which is made of very cheap soft wood anyway. So yeah, we gotta sort that out, and then I can put it back up on the shelf. You can see it started to come apart here as well, and in fact it's just this piece that saves it from completely getting apart. Right, some wood gluing to do. Okay, that's the this top seam re-glued. Just let that set. Actually, just to make life a little more complicated, this cross beam here I think was too long, and so it was sort of jammed in, which is putting lateral pressure on this all along. So we'll let that set up, and then we go to the other diagonal. A quick update on the cab for this Minerva. So as I said before, it had parted along the bottom seam here and along the diagonal opposite one inside here. So that's all re-glued, so at least the basic cabinet is now robust again. This cross piece was also coming adrift of these three places here. The glue was only still intact on one side, so that's refitted. I found the veneer was proud of the edge all around here and was prone to giving you nasty little cuts if you ran your hand along it, so I smoothed all that down so it's less of a risk. That leaves the one remaining urgent thing is the top rail for mounting the speaker baffle has come adrift, and when I basically took the speaker out, I found that this top piece came with it. And I guess as you can see here, where one of the screws goes in is way too near the edge. It's a really soft piece of wood anyway. And it looks like the glue didn't have a lot of surface to adhere. And so with the weight, the speaker is very heavy. And so it just pulled this one away. So I'm going to replace that with a piece of hardwood, which will be wider than the original, and so hopefully there'll be more space here for where the screw hole goes through, because I don't want to go re-drilling the hole in the speaker baffle board or anything. And then I'll have to do some shaping of the back of this so it fits the contour as accurately as possible. So when I fit it in here, it'll be better fit and more reliable and rigid. You can actually, I don't know if it shows up on the camera, but you can see there's very little of the surface actually had glue. So yeah, got to do some improvements there if this thing is going to last, and then I can put it all back together. Okay, so there's the cross piece replicated. So I will glue that in up top, and we will have a much more secure piece of wood to hold a heavy speaker.